Hey everybody, Crazy Kahzmoh here. I don't know how many of you actually watch these, but pretty much doing them for myself and anybody else who, like me, tends to look at movies and television in a strange way or just slightly off kilter from everybody else. So, with that said, take this all with a grain of salt. If you don't want to know bad things about movies or things that I notice that kind of make me go, what were they thinking? Then feel free to stop now. So recently I saw the movie Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, I'd like to preface everything I'm about to say with the fact that I thoroughly enjoyed most of the movie. By most, I mean about 99% of the movie. However, the 1% that I didn't enjoy was pretty kind of earth-shatteringly bad for me, to the point where it took me the better part of a half an hour to get back into the movie and really kind of let myself get back into the immersion of it. There's a point in the movie, and I guess I should probably mention right here and right now, there might be some mild spoilers. I'm not actually going to go too much into the plot, aside from to say some basic plot points that need to be said in order to set up the scene that I'm talking about. So at one point during the movie, Bruce Banner and Tony Stark are working on a program to create the Ultron program, to kind of safeguard the Earth so they don't have to keep, running themselves ragged to do so themselves. And during this time, at this point, there's an exchange between the two where Bruce Banner says, if you can manage to crack this, you're only one step away from taking over the world, or something to that effect. To which Tony Stark responds, well, if I do, the very first thing I'm going to do is reinstitute the right of prima nocta. Now, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I'm a huge movie nut. And one of my favorite movies from way back when, even though it really doesn't stand up as well as it should nowadays, was Braveheart. The reason I'm bringing up Braveheart is the right of prima nocta is actually dealt with in Braveheart as well. I don't know how many of you remember the sequence, but in Braveheart, the king says he's going to reinstitute the right of prima nocta. And what that means is that on the night of her wedding, any woman within the territory that he lords over, on the night of her wedding, he has the right to sleep with her before her husband does, to quote-unquote bless the union, because he's a noble and it's his right under this right of prima nocta. Now, essentially, it's legalized rape is the best way I can put it. I mean, there's really no way to sugarcoat it and make it any less than it is. The reason it bothers me is that, yes, I know we're supposed to believe that Tony Stark is kind of a prick and that he's kind of a bastard every now and again, but you kind of have to portray him, especially in a Disney/Marvel movie that you know is going to be watched by kind of impressionable adolescents. You got to give him that, he's always kind of had that heart of gold down underneath all of it, even the whole, thing in his chest that powers him being the metaphor for, his heart. You got to give him that little bit of redemption value. And for him to say that he's going to reinstitute this right where basically he could force any woman in the world to sleep with him on the night of her wedding, this like most holy of holy nights and most sacred of sacred nights, it just kind of portrays him as a little bit more hard-hearted and black-hearted than I really ever wanted to believe that we were putting Tony Stark to be. I mean, I understand that with certain events that are going to play out over the world stage in this continuum in the near future, we kind of have to set him up as the bad guy, and I can appreciate that. But I think we need to draw the line at making him completely reprehensible. And I think by making a comment like that, when there are numerous other things he could have alluded to, I mean, the concept of legalizing polygamy and, any other version of womanizing, yes, it makes him look like a prick, but at the same time, it doesn't cross that line. It doesn't cross the line into unwanted advances. Even in polygamy, you still have to ask and they still have to say yes. There's the element of choice there. What we're talking about is eliminating a choice. You eliminate their choice of whether or not they can say no, specifically because they're about to or they have just participated in the sacrament of marriage, or the rite of marriage, or however you want to put it, wherever you tend to go Justice of the Peace, Priest, whatever you want to do. It's just a little bit more dark than I think I was prepared to go in a Marvel movie. And I'm really hoping that in the future, things like this don't keep happening in movies like these, because what seems like it could be a throwaway comment, and yes, I'm sure a very small percentage of the population actually caught it, because everybody I've mentioned it to up until this point has essentially kind of looked at me like I'm a little bit crazy and basically said to me, how the hell do you know things like this? And that's, it's just kind of the way my brain works. I pick things up and I hold on to them, and I can make connections between them. So I see a lot of this stuff. And hopefully over the next few weeks, if I can get a little bit more conscientious with this, I can keep posting these. And if they interest you, and if you like seeing these tiny little blips and things like that, might make you see movies in a little different way, feel free to keep watching. And yeah, so see you next time.